And they're going to be able to gobble up all their competition. That's why local and regional banks are against it, and all the big mega banks are for it. But it's being billed in the media as a way to get Goldman Sachs, when Goldman Sachs' CEO is actually out there promoting the legislation. I mean, it's not hard to figure out what's going on here. And, the problem is the GOP yesterday ended their filibuster blocking financial reform bill. And of course, you read these articles, they never tell you what's in the bill. Well, I've scanned over it, and I've read what other analysts have said about the bill and what Ron Paul has said about the bill. Without a doubt, it gives the Federal Reserve almost complete dictatorial power over the whole economy. You've heard Judge Napolitano, who's analyzed the bill, in a previous incarnation, talk about how even a hot dog stand will be regulated. All businesses, everything, anything that has to do with the economy, the Federal Reserve will control it. These are the same people that engineered the housing collapse. We now have the internal Goldman Sachs documents. You say, but that's the Federal Reserve. Yeah, piloted by former Goldman Sachs executives. They are in every key position. Every key position, not just here. Greece, Chile, England, Portugal, Spain, New Zealand, Australia. Just randomly go check a country that's being imploded by banks right now, and they're having, quote, bailouts, which are just robberies. And in every case, the president, the prime minister, or the finance minister, or all three sometimes, some countries have prime ministers and presidents, are all Goldman Sachs. They're just all Goldman Sachs. That's it. That's the global government. Oh, and so now they have been indicted civilly, and a criminal probe has been opened by the Justice Department, which is completely financed, the entire Obama White House financed by Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan and the other big 6 mega banks. Again, I say 6, I say 8, I say 10. 6 one way, half a dozen the other. There's less than 10 global mega banks. And different ratings agencies say between 6 and 10, but I'm getting stuck on how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. So that is some of what we'll be covering today as well. But again, James Traficant and Wayne Madsen joining us today. That is coming up. What I want to do right now is play this video clip of Obama yesterday announces he will be sending SWAT teams to the oil rigs. What is wrong with this picture?
So I hate to intrude on it, but before we begin, I do want to speak briefly to the American people about the recent BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. I've been receiving frequent briefings from members of my cabinet and White House staff, including an update last night on the additional breach and another update this morning. And while BP is ultimately responsible for funding the cost of response and cleanup operations, my administration will continue to use every single available resource at our disposal, including potentially the Department of Defense, to address the incident. Earlier today, DHS Secretary Napolitano announced that this incident is of national significance, and the Department of Interior has announced that they will be sending SWAT teams to the Gulf to inspect all platforms and rigs. And I have ordered the Secretaries of Interior and Homeland Security, as well as Administrator Lisa Jackson of the Environmental Protection Agency, to visit the site on Friday to ensure that BP and the entire U.S. government is doing everything possible, not just to respond to this incident, but also to determine its cause.
And then CBS News is reporting that they are looking at terrorism. This is a giant drilling platform that costs hundreds of millions of dollars. What they're saying the rig's $800 million. It's crawling with engineers and roughnecks and petroleum geologists. These are not pushover people. It's hundreds and hundreds of miles off the coast, and 11 people died, but there were many other witnesses. I just said there was a big explosion. You don't insert Al-Qaeda terrorists in black pajamas onto one of these to blow something up. So this is just ridiculous. And if they say that Al-Qaeda blew up the rig, that is the equivalent of saying the moon is made out of Swiss cheese. It is just not true. And regardless, you don't send SWAT teams to the rigs to check all the rigs. There's got to be 1,000 of them out there or more. He's going to check all the rigs in the Gulf of Mexico with SWAT teams. And notice how Everything is psych warfare. It's the government has declared this is serious. As if they're God, as if when we walk outside in the morning and the sun comes up, we have to go turn the TV on and see if the government says the sun came up, or if there's birds tweeting in a tree, we have to, I don't know if birds are tweeting in a tree. I better go have it announced to me by the government. Oh, I remember about 2 years ago, the White House press secretary, Perino, or whatever her name was, the blonde, the reporters day after day were asking her, is the dollar being devalued? Has the dollar lost value? Can the White House say if that's true or not? And she would say, I cannot comment on that. And they'd say, well, we need, I played these clips, we need the White House to tell us, as if they couldn't go to any stock market website and look at the U.S. dollar at the time that was plunging. As if they can't see the red arrow aiming down and look at the exact number of how much it had fallen. None of the U.S. media would report the dollar was falling. It was just all over the financial barometers. You walk outside, it's raining, but you just walk around in the rain. You walk the dog in the rain. You come home dripping, and your wife says, why didn't you take an umbrella? Well, the government didn't tell me it was raining outside. Can the White House tell us if this oil spill is a problem? Can the White House tell us if the dollar's being devalued? Can the White House tell us if we brushed our teeth this morning? Can the White House show me how to wipe my behind? I mean, please, can you? Government's God. I have to be told what to do. I can't wipe my nose. Coming up in the third hour, James Traficant. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, April 30th, 2010, on this Friday edition. And then Wayne Madsen with Key 9/11 info. They did a bad, bad thing. Oh, they did a bad, bad thing on 9/11. They did a bad, bad thing. They did a bad, bad thing. They did a bad, bad thing. You ever love someone so much you thought your little heart was going to break into? Yesterday, we posted an article at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com that Kurt Nimmo and Paul Watson did together. And it dealt with documents from training drills going on the last 2 weeks by the U.S. Army to militarily engage Tea Party's militias. And in the drills, the militias and Tea Party people are drunken, racist scum who hate the military. So they're training the military to hate the Tea Parties and the American people. This is third grade level brainwashing. And that's what the government thinks of the military. They think you're complete idiots. Look, our government has been seized by offshore banks. Our military is being used to carry out evil, unlawful wars. Our country is falling apart. And I have confirmed from police, from federal police, from military, and I've gotten the training manuals, and we posted them at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And we've gotten documents that the news has reported on and confirmed are real, that the In the Fed rallies, including rallies that I'm at, have the Army there surveilling us as terrorists. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? Tea Party people, In the Fed folks, we are not terrorists, and you know it. And this just really brings home to me just how illegitimate our government is. And, of course, for 2 years, the Pentagon's been announcing Homeland Brigade. They want to jack it up to 400,000 domestic troops working with local police. And now almost all of their training is demonization of the American people and preparing the military to wage war on the American people. And, hey, this has happened in Russia and China and Mexico and Nazi Germany, and it's happened everywhere, and it's happening here, and this is what tyranny is. It happened in Rome 2,000 years ago. And it's such a psyop that the Pentagon gets almost $2 trillion a year, $1.1 trillion on budget, another $800 billion or so in off budget, and that's not even counting the secretive black budget. So it's well over $2 trillion, actually, but let's just say right at $2 trillion conservatively. $2 trillion